What were your thoughts when you referenced Eddie Van Halen as one of your big three? What were your thoughts when your lead singer ends up in Van Halen?
Well, the funny thing is he, me and Gary were still talking, and he came to me about doing it and the idea of doing it. And Gary was not the biggest Van Halen fan. Like he was a Who guy, Zeppelin. He loved Queen, and Van Halen was like me and Pat were more obsessed about the Van Halen stuff. I remember we used to jam stuff at soundcheck, and Gary didn't know a lot of stuff. He'd walk off, and Pat would sing the vocals. We would do it. So it was kind of ironic that Gary ended up in Van Halen and did that. But it was, I went up to the studio. I went up to 5150 and visited while he was recording, while they were doing it. I went up and hung out with Eddie and him, and it was all good. This is great.
Had you met Eddie prior to that?
Yes, we just finished Porn and Graffiti, and I stayed in town to produce a Dweezil Zapp album called Confessions. And on the way to the studio one day, Dweezil said, "Hey, I got to make a quick stop." It was at Center Staging. I just got to run in and grab a guitar, do something. He goes, "Yeah, just come in with me." And the doors open, and Van Halen was rehearsing. And I was...
And again, the doves came out.
The doves flew, angels sounded. And I thought, wow. And we just did a run with David Lee Roth, when we went in, and before that as well. And we, and Eddie stopped. He stopped playing, and I was like, uh-oh. Like he's going to kick me out or do something. He came over, and other than Elton John, he's the only other guitarist and musician that kissed me on the lips.
Wow, so good company to get kisses on the lips.
But I thought I was special, but then I read that he did that to Kurt Cobain as well, and he did it to so-and-so, so he's a bit of a slut. He kissed everybody on the lips. Hello. I thought I was special. But yeah, he and Eddie, and all I could think of when I walked into that room was he was doing us finishing a song, and I was thinking as a guitar player, I was like, there it is. There's that tone. Because you got to remember, every time we did the first Extreme album, Porn and Graffiti, we'd always reference albums for sound, and it was always Van Halen 1 and 2 for me. Put it on. Are we anywhere close? Can we get it a little bit what's that warm sound? Everybody has their, never sounded like it, but that's what you strive for. And then I got in and I was like, there it is right in front of me. And I was fantasizing. Can you imagine everybody leaving the room and me just playing his rig, the guitar, finally sounding like Eddie Van Halen, finally. First thing he does, takes a break, come and play my rig.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, uh-oh, did he just hear me? Did I just say that out loud? And everybody took a break and he's like, no, just play, man. I want to try this pedal out. And I'm like, okay, this is crazy. Now he puts the guitar on me. I'm playing his rig. He's kneeling down in front of me, facing the other way, and he's trying some pedal out. So the first thing that goes through my head is, as a kid, you never thought this through. What's the first thing you play in front of Eddie Van Halen? And I was just I was panicking, and he was like, and he turned around, he's like, "You gonna play?" I was like, okay. So I panicked, broke glass, and I went into the solo, Get the Funk Out solo. I was just like, I'm just going to play something that I'm not going to improvise and go down in flames in front of Eddie Van Halen. So I went in and I started doing it, and then I got to that part where I started doing the tapping, and he turns around and he stops me. I was like, uh-oh. He goes, none of that silly stuff here. And you know why he said that? Is because I had done it you think these guys that are these icons don't read magazines, do anything. I had just done an article that came out in Guitar World, a guitar player, and they asked about doing tapping, and I said, I kind of feel silly when I tap because it's so Eddie. Not that it was bad, embarrassing, that you cannot be Eddie when you do that. So,
right.
So he stopped me, he goes, none of that silly stuff.
Oh, wow,
so
that's amazing.